Hi everyone, welcome back to my YouTube channel. If you are new here, my name is Veronica, known as Data Geek. So let me ask you, do you ever feel stuck with messy spreadsheets that take forever to clean? Imagine turning them into a clean, live, updating dashboard just like this one without writing a single formula or code. In today's beginner-friendly tutorial, I'm going to show you how to use Power Query to combine multiple data sets, clean them up, step by step, and build a simple dashboard. As you can see on my screen, when I click on any of these filters, you'll see my graph change. Also, I have this box here for date slider and pick a month, or if you want multiple, you could even slide it and pick multiple months. On the right side here, you have your table, and here above it is a drop-down filter. You can drill down to accessories or hardware. So if you're excited, let's get started. All right, so let's start with the files we'll be working with. I've got two simple data sets. One is our sales orders on my right side, which has order ID, date, region, product, units, and sales. And the other is a product lookup table, which shows the products, category, and unit price. Right now, they're just plain CSV files, but in a few minutes, we'll bring them to life. Open up your Excel and open up a new workbook. So in step one, let's bring in our first data set. So head to the Data tab, then select Get Data. So you have many options to get your data. In this case, we're going to use From Text CSV. You also have a quick button here to click that. Once you click that, you open up your file path. So in this case, I have it in my download folder. So this part is important because we need to know where your files are located, first off. And second, every single time you update your sales orders file, it has to be in the same path for Power Query to recognize that path. So every time you hit refresh inside your Power Query, after updating this data set, it reads that file path. So keep in mind, it always has to have the same file path, the same file name, and the same variables, which are the same columns. So as long as everything is the same and the only thing that's updated is the data within the data set, then Power Query will always update your information with no problem. But once you change those variables or even change the file name, Power Query cannot read that file because it's looking for sales_orders in that file path you place that file in. So in this case, we're going to open up the sales orders first. So I click that and I import. So it starts connecting, then it opens up a window. This window here shows an example of your data. And once you see that everything looks good, I'm going to go ahead and click on Transform Data. Then it opens up a Power Query Editor window. And in this window, it has a Home tab, Transform, Add Columns, and View. So all with just a few clicks, you can edit your data set. And every time you edit your data set, here on your right side, it says Applied Steps. It will record each of these steps. And every time you hit refresh from Excel, it will automatically update your data set and apply each of these steps. So that way you don't have to continue to clean your data set every single time. Again, all you have to do is do this one time, upload your data set every month, every week, or whenever you need to update your data, and it does every single step for you just with the click of a button. So we'll go ahead and get started. And here on your left side, it has sales queries. So every time you add a new table, it's going to list them all here. So in this case, we're only going to upload two tables, two data sets, and it's going to list those two here. But once you get used to using Power Query and adding more tables to this, they will all be listed here. Now we will go ahead and start looking at the data types. So in order ID, there's a little 1, 2, 3 next to it. If I click on that, it shows me different data types. It has decimal number, currency, whole number, percentage, but in this case, it's only numbers. So I'm going to leave it as whole numbers. So the 1, 2, 3, this one here, date column, is an actual date. So I'm going to click on that little calendar and it shows that it's a date, or you can change it to date time, but we're going to keep it to date. Just verifying each of these data types are correct. It does make a difference. Product is a text, units are numbers, and sales is a decimal place, 1.2 decimal place. You can change it to currency for money. So I'll go ahead and click that. It'll just ask the selected column has an existing type conversion. Would you like to replace the existing conversion? You can go ahead and replace current, and it changes that. Next, what I'm going to do is I'm going to go ahead and click on the top left corner of the data set. And when I click that, it shows me a drop down. So here you can add columns, you can invoke custom functions, choose a column, keep top rows, bottom rows, keep duplicates or keep errors. But in this case, we're going to go ahead and remove some duplicates and errors. So I want to remove errors. And once I did that, you see that applied step. Here it removes errors. I'm going to go back and click on that top left corner again and remove duplicates. Now remove duplicates is added to our applied steps here on the right. You can do some things here under the Home tab as well. You have remove rows, keep rows, and remove columns. Also, your column names should be listed here, but if you see something like maybe your first row is showing instead of your column names, to change that, you just click here in the middle under your Home tab where it says use first row as headers. So I'm just going to click that to show you what it does. It changes that applied step and it adds that in there. But you can see that I have some numbers now. It messed up kind of my columns. So if you accidentally change something and you don't want it to be changed, you can always go back to your applied steps here on the right and delete it. And I'm going to delete it one more time, and it's back to where I was at before. So I have removed duplicates, my last step. So I'm going to keep it as is. So it's very easy to apply steps and delete steps. Now under your transform tab, you have certain options as well. Rename data types, replace values, or you could move, click on move and move left or right your columns. And again, you have that option here, use first row as headers. You can click on that here also. And then you can count rows or reverse rows. There's certain things you could do here. It's always good to kind of browse and look to see what it has. And like I said, so easy to clean this data set with just click of buttons. Also, you can also highlight your columns. And if you highlight a column and right click, you also have other options here. So remove duplicates, you can do remove duplicates by this column, remove errors, change the data type from here also, replace errors, replace values, or transform. So this is just another way to transform your data. Next, I'm going to go ahead and add a column. So you don't have to do this step, but I just want to show you how easy it is to add a column. So here on your top, where it has your Home tab, transform, add column. So click that tab there, go to custom column. And this is where you enter your column name. I'm going to call this sales underscore recalc for short. And then you put in your calculation. So it's going to be sales times number of units. So in this case, I'm going to go ahead and put in here on my right side, it says available columns. So I'm going to click on sales. So I double click that. And then I'm going to go times and then units, double click units. Now I have a very quick formula to do that. So I'm going to go ahead and click OK. And now insert a new column that's calculating the sales times units. And it also added that applied step. So that is it for the first data set. So now let's do the same thing for our second file. So before I do that, I'm going to go back to my Home tab here on top. And I'm going to click on Close and Load on the top left. And then it's going to have a drop down. It's going to say Close and Load To is my option that I'm going to click. And then this import data, I want to select only create connection. Then here on the bottom, add this data to data model and OK. Now, every single time you need to add a new data set, you're going to do it just like we did with the first one. Now here in the second one, again, we're going to do what we did in the first one. We're going to get data. We get our file type, which is the text CSV. Then find our file path and select our folder and import. Again, it shows you a preview and you just go to transform data. It opens up your Power Query editor again. And again, you see your sales orders here on the left. And now you have your products. So every time you do that with get data, then load your data set, it's going to again show each one of your data sets. And again, you just clean it up here again. You go ahead and look at your products, data types, category, and unit price. So I'm going to change that to currency and just confirm, replace current. Since this is a small data set, I'll go ahead and close and load, and then close and load too. And again, this import data. So you want to only create connection and add to this data model. Okay. So now inside Excel, you're going to see you have your queries and connections here on your right side. Again, you have your sales orders data set, and then you have your product orders, and it gives you a little pop-up window on that data set. So just to go over products, products is just, as I mentioned before, a reference table, and it has product names, their categories, and standard prices. We're going to use this to enrich our sales data. So going back to our query editor, we can just go ahead and right click on any one of these data set names and go to edit. Now you're back in your Power Query editor. So here's the fun part. We're going to combine the two data sets. So in Power Query, go up to the Home tab. And from the Home tab, right in the middle, it says Merge Queries. You're going to click on that little drop down. Then you're going to select Merge Queries. So you'll get a window like this. This is your merge window. So you see your sales orders, which is your sales data set that we were just in. And then here on the bottom, you will click a little drop down here and select your data set name, which in this case is products. So if you have other data set names, just make sure you're clicking on the correct data set. So I'm going to click on products and it shows the data set. Then you're going to go ahead and of course you need a unique identifier, right? So that relationship between the two tables. So in this case, it's products. So highlight those two columns. And then here on the bottom, it says, what kind of join do you want? So if you do that little drop down, it has different kind of joins. Well, we're going to go ahead and select the left outer join. Next, we will click OK. As you can see, there is a new column called products, but it just shows table. So to change this, click on these little arrows here on the top corner of that column and select the variables you need. So since we have that unique identifier as product, we don't need that. All we need is category and unit price. So I'm going to click those two there and click OK. So now it creates those two columns of product category and unit price. Now you can double click in here and change these names. So I'm just going to change it to category. And this one, double click to change this one and just erase the products and put unit price, enter. So that's one way to rename those columns. And again, it continues on to your applied steps. So now we have those two new columns. We just merged our data sets together. And now we're going to go ahead and close and load. So now we have our sales orders combined it with our products. And that is how to merge data sets inside Power Query. So now we will do our dashboard. So now we have our sales table ready. Everything's all cleaned up and ready to go. we're going to do is make sure our sales orders is clicked, and then we're going to go ahead and click on Insert tab here on the top left, and then under Pivot Table, click the drop down here. Then we're going to select From Data Model. Next, it will ask you where you want the pivot table to be placed, and you can place it anywhere you'd like. I'm going to go ahead and add it here on the side since I'm going to do my dashboard, and then go ahead and select OK. So my pivot table is placed there. Now you can see your table fields. So you have your products and sales orders. So I'm going to click on my sales orders because that's where everything is at, including the merge. So I'm going to click and drag dates and put it under rows. And now I have date, year, quarter, month. So I'm going to go ahead and get rid of the quarter and the date. And I'm only going to keep date, year, and date, month. And next I will select sales. So I'm going to click sales and click and drag into values. So now we have our sales. It has a little plus sign here. You can expand for the years. So it shows you. Also in your values field, it says sum of sales. So it's showing you the sum. But if you go and click this little drop down here next, right on the sum of sales, you're going to see value field settings. You can click that, and then you can change that data type to account in case you want to change that. Also, if you want currency, you can change that by clicking on number format and clicking currency and OK, and then OK again. So it changed that. If you want to change the color of this, which we will go ahead and change it to, let's do an orange. You can do that by selecting design here on the top, but first you have to make sure you're selecting your pivot, because if you click out here, see how it goes away. So make sure you're selected in your pivot to change the design. Also, if you want to rename your row label, let's change this to month, or actually go year/month. And here we're going to get rid of sum of sales and just put sales. Next, we will do a visual. So I'm going to go ahead and select just the years all the way down to the totals. I'm not going to select the grand total. So I'm going to go ahead and go to our Insert tab. And in the middle here, it shows little graphs under charts. I want a line graph. So I'm going to go ahead and select one of these line graphs here. Then as I have my line graph selected, I will go under Design, and you can click your own design. Let's do that one there. Also, you can drag the corners to make it larger or drag it in to make it smaller. And double click this total and change the name to sales. And again, you can change the color. So let's change this color to like an orange color. There we go. Also, if you click this little plus sign, you can add some chart elements. You can do an X-axis title if you'd like. You can put data labels, but I'll just go ahead and keep it as is for now. And I'm going to move this to the center here at the bottom, because we're going to go ahead and add a timeline. So to do that, again, make sure you're in your table and go to Insert. And then here under Filters, there's a slicer and timeline. We're going to go ahead and click Timeline. And then it asks you your timeline. So of course, you only have one column called date. So you're going to go by date and OK. So now you have your timeline. I'm going to click and drag and put it right here. Actually, bring this down and drag and kind of like line it up with the bottom one. Now you have your date slider. So you can go ahead and click on those for August 2025. There's different ones. As you click, you can see the graph changes and the table changes. You can also drag it to select multiple months. And then here on the top, it has like a little filter with an X. You can clear those filters. And the reason why it's showing this line is because it's closing all the tables. But if you open them up, it will show all of your data. Now to change this color, make sure it's selected and go to timeline and change your color to orange or whatever color you desire. And next we're going to go ahead and add some slicers. So again, click inside your table and go to Insert and Slicer. Under your Insert tab, Slicer, and then select the slicers you want. So we're going to do Region, and let's do Category, and OK. And now you have your slicers, so we can go ahead and place those on the side. And again, make sure they're selected to change the color. So select it and then go here to the top where it has a slicer tab and select your color that you want. So I'm going to change both of those to orange. I'm going to move this in a little bit and move this one out. Kind of, you have to play around to adjust it a little bit. The reason why I'm moving these a little in because I'm going to kind of make it look like a little border for column D and K. So I'm going to highlight this all the way down till it lines up to the end of my graph. Make it just a little one more over. I'm going to filter this in black and also the bottom row black. And then also filtering in column D black. So it looks like it's kind of just like a black border in the background. So if you want to get rid of the grid lines here, you go to Page Layout tab and then go to Grid Lines here in the middle where it says Sheet Options. Go ahead and unselect that and it just looks like a clear background. Now we want to insert a title here, so we're going to go ahead and go to Insert. You can go ahead and do the word art if you'd like. Then you can select any one of these. I'll select that first one there. And I'm going to call this Sales Data. And I will go ahead and move it here in the middle. Now if I select it all, I can go to the Home tab and change the color as well. Go ahead and put it to an orange. Now I have that title there. You can also change your table if you highlight the whole table and go to your Home tab. And here under fonts, you can put lines on your table or borders. And now you have some lines there. Next, under the end column, I'm going to highlight that and put a color here. Let's do this black also, like a border type. And then I'll just put this black. And also the top. And then here on this side, I want to make it like more of like a orangey color. And then now this background here, also a dark color. Oh, and then change the color title to a white. That way it stands out better. So here is your dashboard. Just a very simple dashboard we just put together here. Let's make that a little bold and bigger. So as you click your slicers, you can see that everything changes, your visuals change, your tables are changing, everything's changing. Also selecting your dates. Again, you can slide it where you want it. To reset your filters, you just select that little filter with an X on these and it resets them all. Very cool interactive dashboard. But here's the real magic. So let's say new sales comes in. So I'm going to go back to the CSV file I had showed you from the beginning. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to make a copy of this and then I'm going to paste it. But I'm going to go ahead and rename this one because this is the one it's pulling from our query. And I want to rename this to orders underscore old. And now our new orders, this is going to be our new orders. So I'm going to go ahead and right click it and rename it to just sales orders because you want it to be the same exact one. So I'm going to open this up. But this time I want to go ahead and change some stuff. So say you got a new form, paste in your new data. And again, it needs to have the same exact variable names and your file path needs to be the same. So if I go ahead and go from 25 and do a shift control and arrow down to highlight all of this other data and delete it, and say this is your new monthly sales, I'm going to go ahead and hit save and then close that out. Going back to my dashboard, all I have to do is go to your data tab and refresh all. Now, remind you, look at this totals. This is pulling from the old data set that we pulled the first time. We updated our data set. So again, this is where the magic happens. Go to your data tab and click on refresh all. So go click that button here and watch these numbers change. So here on your left, you can see it's updating. And there you go, it just updated. So grand total is now 10,000 and you see your visuals change. Everything is good to go. And that is how you can combine multiple data sheets, clean them up, and build a live updating Excel dashboard using Power Query. No formulas, no VBA, just clicks. So if you want to try this yourself, I've linked the practice files in the description below. Don't forget to hit the like, subscribe, and check out my playlist on Excel and Power BI for more tutorials. Thank you so much for watching. Thank you for your support, and I will see you on the next video.